Good evening, everybody, and thanks for attending this Housing Santa Barbara Day webinar. I'm Ted Hamilton-Roll, Acting Design Review Supervisor at the City of Santa Barbara in the Planning Division. And I've been with the city about 5 years now and worked on a whole lot of different projects, but one of them was the Pre-Approved ADU program that the city implemented in response to a state law. And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. So with that, go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about an overview of the ADU permitting process and the pre-approved ADU program. We'll talk about specifically how the pre-approved ADU program aims to provide the option for homeowners to expedite the construction of ADUs on their property. And then I'll share some of the pre-approved ADU designs that we have currently up on our website to use. And lastly, I'll talk about just kind of what's next for the pre-approved ADU program. And definitely, I want you to ask me questions, and yeah, I'm happy to answer questions at the end here. All right. So since 2018, under the regular ADU permit process, the city has received over 1,000 applications to construct accessory dwelling units. Of those, 580 have been completed, 260 are under construction, and 239 are in the plan review process. And you can see on this graph on the screen here on the right, the blue bar represents those for which a building permit has been issued. The green is completed projects. They're built, done, signed off, and red are still pending. And you can see the green, blue, and red dots distributed around the city to kind of give you an idea where in the city ADUs have been proposed and permitted. In 2024, the Santa Barbara County Association of Governments, or SBCAG, published a report after surveying ADU applicants and owners throughout the county. The report indicated that about 40% of ADU applicants thought that obtaining the necessary permits to get an ADU was one of the biggest challenges they faced in constructing an ADU. In locations in the county where pre-approved ADU plans are already in use, such as Santa Maria, survey respondents indicated that having the pre-approved option was helpful. And as I'm sure a couple of my fellow panelists or fellow city residents can attest, the city's permit process is not simple, in part due to the requirement for design review of certain accessory dwelling unit applications based on their location and design district and based on site constraints as well. So out of those roughly 1,000 ADU applications the city has received, only about 150 required design review through a discretionary application at some level because they didn't meet one of the 11 criteria for administrative or staff level approval. So in a nutshell, those ministerial design criteria are allowed by the state, and they're intended to ensure that ADUs are truly subservient or an accessory use to the main house and match the design style to the extent feasible, and that they aren't going to look out of place on the lot and in the neighborhood. You know, you don't want an ADU necessarily being plopped down right in the front yard of a nice old Craftsman. Even though design review does have its benefits, for those 150 ADU applications that did have to go through design review, the permit timeline extended by several months. And while I don't have data on hand to back this up, it's reasonable to assume that their permitting fees and consultant fees were higher than ADU projects that didn't have to go to design review. So in short, a discretionary process adds money and time, and a ministerial process expedites things. So that's where Assembly Bill 1332 comes in. This state law makes permitting an ADU faster and less expensive by cutting down on consultant costs and plan review time. The law requires local agencies to create a process for the pre-approval of ADUs, and that's what the city has done. The law only applies to detached ADUs, meaning separate structures. And the city is further limiting the parameters of these ADUs to be 1 story or a maximum of 16 feet in height and between 250 and 800 square feet. This is consistent with the parameters of a state mandate special ADU, or you might have heard the term 66323 unit, which is allowed in most parts of the city, including the high fire hazard areas. So when we were developing this program, we really wanted to allow these ADUs everywhere in the city that we could, which is why we chose the special ADU, because that is the most applicable across the entire city. In contrast to the regular ADU permit process, which sends ADU applications to design review on a case-by-case basis based on site specifics, the pre-approved ADU program gets the design review portion out of the way during the pre-approval phase, meaning that the pre-approved designs do not have to go through a discretionary design review process once a homeowner submits a permit application. Pre-approved ADUs are also subject to quicker plan review times. The state requires local agencies to take an action to approve or deny a permit application in 30 days, and instead of the standard 60 days for the regular ADU process. These pre-approved ADUs are also subject to lower plan review fees, roughly 25% less than the regular ADU plan review fees. And lastly, and perhaps one of the most important things, the benefits of choosing a pre-approved ADU is that homeowners can rely on the fact that this design doesn't need design review, that it meets building code, and it's ready to go. This makes it a great option for first-time permit seekers, working folks who don't have the time or resources to design a project from the ground up, and folks who just want a simpler route than going through the custom design process. And now I'm excited to share with you the designs that have received pre-approval in the city of Santa Barbara. So this is a really nice small unit. It's 400 square feet and it includes a loft. The designer is Bonnie Sangster over at Beshta. That's Bonnie E. Sangster. Actually forget what the HDA stands for, but anyway, very good designer. There are actually about 20 or so different variations, different styles with this same architecture scheme and floor plan, meaning that basically the interior is the same across all the styles. They all have the loft, but you get to pick what kind of exterior finishes you want. And all those exterior finishes have been pre-approved. So for example, if you have a Spanish style house, you might want something with a stucco wall and a kind of a red roof to roughly match the Spanish house. There's an option for that. If you've got a craftsman that has more of these muted green tones and a brownish roof, then you can go with this option. The idea being that you can pick an option that works for your lot specifically. This design by Bevy House is a 740 square foot ADU. This is, I believe, the largest one that we have pre-approved currently. It is a one bed configuration, but this does offer the most space for your for the pre-approved options here. It comes in a few different designs. There's a Spanish style. This is a kind of a craftsman, and then there's a contemporary style as well. And they all include this exterior deck, which is kind of nice. There's also a kind of middle of the road ADU, which is this 526 square foot one bed ADU by Godkin Design and Build. This one is also available in multiple exterior finish schemes, like the Beshta option was. I should have included some of those details on this slide, but essentially you kind of pick the design you want, and you can pick which exterior finishes, what color siding, paint, trim you want. All right, so those are the ADUs that we have pre-approved on the city website right now. In the next slide, show you a link to that website. And for now, I want to just put the call out. If there are any designers you know, or if you're an architect or a designer, we want to hear from you and have you submit your design for the city so that you can get your ADU design pre-approved. The design will be posted to the city's website, and your clients will be able to purchase the ADU plans directly from you as the designer. And from there, they can take your plans and submit a building permit application to the city. So if you are a designer, or you know one, please let them know that this program is up and running, and it's really, we hope that it'll be a really good benefit. All right, so this is my contact info. If you have any follow-up questions after this seminar, feel free to reach out. The webpage is santabarbaraca.gov/pre-ADU. Thanks again for having me, and feel free again to contact me directly. You can also email this email address here. It's adu@santabarbaraca.gov for general ADU questions. Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about the pre-approved designs. Are those available for purchase and then you can select a builder, or is that kind of packaged with a builder?
Great question. It's really up to the designers. So the city doesn't have control over how the designers contract out with clients. All we do is share the contact information and share a preview of the plans. So next steps for anybody interested in using one of these plans would just be to contact whoever's on the website and get information that way. My understanding is that most of the contractors here give you the option to either just buy the plans from them and submit your own building permit application, or require that you contract with them to go through the permit process and do it that way. But the city isn't getting any money from the sale of the plans or anything like that. We just get building permit fees once you submit a building permit application.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, I did see a handful on the website. I did reach out to Bevy House. It seems like they want to go prepackaged because they're a prefab.
Yeah.
But that's good to hear. There's a couple others. All right, yeah, thanks. That was my question.
You'll have Ted's information on the screen. Feel free to reach out to him. And yeah, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, Ted, for the presentation. And hope it was informational. And we'll be starting our other final seminar for this series at 7:15. That one is in Spanish. It's Presupuesto Consciente. It's mindful budgeting, and there will be on-screen translation for English. If you want to join that later, you'll get the link the same way that you got it for this one. But if not, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. And thank you, Ted.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.